We have some experience with it. First of all, I think that we as clients should cooperate and collaborate with suppliers of these techniques to see if these indeed have added value. And I would like to start with making maybe some provocative statements, because we have seen in the past that these methods have been sold as being new, solving everything, and also sold to our marketeers as being sexy, and you are really old-fashioned if you're not applying neuromarketing. So what we have been confronted with is that a lot of suppliers have been sold to us methods which were not validated, as well as unclear statements about sample size. Is it really necessary, such a small sample size, or is it just because of the fact that it's otherwise too expensive? So I think that from the supplier side, with whom we would like to cooperate, that there should be a much more clear understanding towards our vis-a-vis clients. So what is indeed validated and with which methods you want to experiment.
Okay, thank you very much. And as you see, I've spoken this morning and I said, well, can you give me some examples of neuromarketing? And you have to focus on neuromarketing on several means, you know, EEG, fMRI, and all kinds of things. And I will give the mic to Leslie. He must also talk about the MRI and how you use it at the Hypotheker.
Yes, for those who don't know, the Hypotheker is the largest advisor on mortgages in the Netherlands. And since the 1st of January, we had to change our complete business model because the government decided that there was no commissions coming from the banks to us. So the consumer had to pay us directly. And so we were thinking, what do we need to do about it? What's the price range we can keep? Basically, we did our complete positioning, price points, and commercials. We put it into the fMRI scan, and our whole all our commercials was also about all our talks in the way the advisor is doing the talks with the customer. We did through the fMRI, and basically, even though there is a big crisis in the Netherlands, in the housing market especially, we were able to get more people into our shows. Our image has gone up to the highest point in the Netherlands, so we are have the best image in the mortgage and the housing area. And it was the only inquiry we did of that, because we don't have the large budgets Heineken has.
But if you're talking about neuromarketing, what did you do, for example, with eye tracking or facial decoding?
We have been experimenting with several methods. Amongst others also is a university like Revelan, whom we did here within this audience. We did a project with. Eye tracking we are doing regularly level, on a regular basis, and I see clear advantages in that area, especially for shelf space. How is your brand distinguishing in a shelf space, or for testing print campaign. Then we also have experience with facial coding. Facial coding, I see clear benefits in analyzing ads. We also tested that regarding drinking, just taste testing. There we see some less advantages. Regarding EEC, I see there the added value I see towards, only personal statement to make is that I only see added value of neuro tools towards traditional research. There you can, and of course, a neuro tool will not tell you why. And regarding EEC, I see an added value that when you're testing a commercial and you see some strange outliers, that is then the input for qualitative research to test if it is to test the reasoning why it and to pinpoint on these specific elements.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions for the two guys from the audience? No questions? Well, they pop up.
We just heard that the heuristics are determined by the situation and the person. So I was wondering, how do you, of course, I like beer maybe when I'm in a bar, but not when I'm having breakfast or so. So what does it mean then? How can you use an fMRI scanner if the situation is an fMRI scanner? It's totally different from other situations where you have to buy it.
Any questions for
Whoever thinks, who's using fMRI scanners?
Sure.
Getting back to you, we are doing a lot of research towards occasions and needs related to persons, and also then which are then the beer brands in our case who are then offering a solution at that moment. And for this we are not using MRI scans.
Okay.
My question is to Leslie. You said you tested everything you did for your repositioning with neuromarketing with fMRI scans, and you said you moved to the top of the Netherlands market position in your market. But I wondered what was your original position before you did all those tests?
Basically, we were only known for our brand name because it's the mortgager in the Netherlands, and we had a very strong payoff which we jammed into everybody's head. If you're Dutch, you probably know our payoff, but we needed to go beyond that because people needed to pay us directly. That's why we needed to find out what's that. Is that what we researched was, do we need to go bank bashing? Do we need to focus on the anxiety of having a house and a mortgage? And what we found out is none of that is relevant. Everybody just wants to live in their houses financially secure, and that's what you see in our commercials. Our commercials are very happy. We're talking about the home. We don't even talk that much about the mortgage, and we've tested them since then, and they all score on a heavy level, so they really work.
Okay, any questions? Do you think, if you talk from the perspective of the hypotheker, are you getting to use about something about eye tracking because you have stores?
No, we don't, because we don't really have a shelf where we have the products on.
Yeah.
Any questions? No? Okay. Oh, there, Michelle. Oh, come on, Michelle.
So trying to find out first from a functional MRI, who were you using and how do you make that difference between EEG and functional MRI? And kind of a little bit of background on which one is netting the most value, if there is any value differences. I was going to say with Heineken. Yeah.
Regarding MRI scanning, the experiments we did amongst others in our company, we tested new packaging, and that gave the same results as we also had from qualitative as well quantitative research. And in that sense, I'm a bit reluctant in the uses and applications of MRI scans. Also driven by the fact that it's a private laboratorium situation, and that there also, when I look at suppliers, and that there are several suppliers from in the research world who are also clearly not supporting MRI scans, but are in favor or ECG.
Because I think it's, and that's what we found in our case, I think that it's very difficult for traditional market researchers to get your head around the fMRI scans. It's not about being old-fashioned, it's just, do you believe that your mind is deciding for you? And so as long as you believe that, then fMRI can be a very good way to get the results out of the inquiry. For instance, I had a big discussion with my market researcher because he wanted to get the data, but he couldn't interpret the data, couldn't put it in SPSS or something like that. So we really needed to look at it in a different way. Basically, the question is, are you a believer of what former speaker said and how it works in your mind, or not?
Okay. Our function is to support people in taking decisions if there is a business issue. So depending on the business issue, you have to go to need to choose for the right methodology. We try to understand the consumer, which you can do via outside in, qualitative research, motivational research, using projective techniques. Either you can start from inside out. And from inside out, I have not seen that the results from it are different from qualitative research.
Okay, thank you very much. A question? Another question? Okay, 2 questions and then we will go for a break.
I have a question to Leslie. I come from Germany, and probably the German population is very much insecure sometimes when it comes to neuromarketing. I spoke to somebody working for a bank who had been starting to use neuroscientific effects and building it into their marketing. And they had really heavy reactions from their customers because some way it got into public that they were using those sort of methodologies, and everything got into this question of, are we manipulated now? So, old question basically. Have you faced something like this? Because you could drive people into mortgages in that way?
Oh, that's a nice question.
The driving people into mortgages, that is very much regulated, so it's very hard. But no, of course we're doing it to get people into our stores and on our website. And I had some questions about that from journalists who looked into our campaign. But basically everything you do on a market research level is like Sjoerd said, you're trying to get into somebody's head and make them come to you. So if we are more effective in that, I only target those people who really are in the market for a mortgage or a mortgage advice. So I can answer that question with the answer, and they what do you say? Accept.
Okay, there's one more question over there, and that's fine.
That's fine.
Yes.
Great. Also a question for Leslie. You mentioned very shortly that it's all about safety, about reassurance. People want to live safely in their home. Can you tell something more about what you found in studies and how did you translate this into your campaign?
Good for my health. Thanks.
Well, what we did was we made some, like I said, bad efforts, stating all the different messages we thought we should bring across, like the safety, price, a large number of mortgages in our store, bank bashing, insecurity, and stuff like that. So, and we showed them in different ways under the scanner to the audience, and out of that came that people really wanted to just to be safe. Don't talk about the mortgage, just be safe. I want to live in my house financially sound. And of course, what we also found was that price is very, very important.
But is there
price is very important in conjunction. If you look at our pay now, you see that we say we manage everything for you. We give you the best price, and we have a large number of mortgages. Those were the three most important things.
Okay, thank you very much. Sjoerd, thanks. Leslie, thanks. If there are any questions, then to the break.